Hey YouTube, welcome to RVdaydream, and I want to talk about how I get videos out to you guys and what you should be looking at. I have a lot of people asking about this, so let's go ahead and finally tell you what's going on.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream. So, of course, you guys have been subscribing to us for a while. You know, we have a channel and we do videos. And whenever we're not doing videos, we're watching videos on TV, we're watching movies through Roku, we're watching on our tablets, and of course, we're interacting with our phones on social media. All that requires some sort of internet. So let's talk about the three types of internet, and I want to tell you how I'm doing it, how it works for me. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to give you a number or an actual link that you can connect to, and you can talk or chat with these people. Send them emails. They're very quick to respond, and they're going to dial you in to exactly what you need. So, first of all, we have a few phones. Heidi has a phone, I have a phone, and I have another phone. And those three phones all have the ability to hotspot. They do have the ability to become a hotspot, so I could hook up my laptop to it. I could hook up our Roku to it. We have two Rokus. And Heidi can hook up her laptop to it also. And that hotspot is good to about 50 gigabytes in my case. Then after 50 gigabytes, which is a lot, that is a lot, I might be deprioritized and slowed down a little bit. It's not that I'm throttled, it's just when they put you behind, at the end of the line, it just takes so long for you to get to where you need to go. It might as well be considered throttle, but it's not really throttle. They don't slow you down, especially if you're not in a congested area and there's a tower that's, relatively close. If it's not congested, you'll still see full speed. I have yet to see a slowdown. Let me put it that way, even though I've gone over 50 gigabytes a couple times. However, we don't want to use our phones necessarily for hotspots all the time, because whenever you get past that 50 gigabyte mark, until your next billing cycle, everything is affected if it's slowed down. I mean, even just you looking for a restaurant to go to or trying to get directions, everything is slowed down until your next billing cycle. Again, if you are in a congested area. So we try to save our phones, except for a few times we hardly use them for hotspots. But we have. One of the reasons, though, we're hardly using them as hotspots any longer, though, is a device I'm getting ready to tell you about. But let me tell you first about the second way that we connect and stay connected on the road. And that was with the park's Wi-Fi system. Now, we've been to a couple of parks that have been exceptional. We were at one that had not only exceptional Wi-Fi, but it was free. And with many repeaters throughout the park. So I didn't have to do anything extra. I just connected to the Wi-Fi and we had a great signal, even with the laptop inside of our RV. And if you guys don't know, our RV is an aluminum cage. This is aluminum roof, aluminum floor, aluminum walls. The framing's all aluminum. It's like a Faraday cage. Same with the floors in the RV and the rear walls, the roof, the side walls. It's all aluminum structure. And it's hard for those signals to get through all of that. But even with that said, we've been into some parks, a couple of them, that just had great Wi-Fi. Now, if we don't have a park that has great Wi-Fi, free or paid, one way or the other, we have another option, and that's the Wi-Fi Ranger that we have on the roof of the RV. Now, that was an option that came with the RV when we purchased it. And basically, what I just told you about trying to get the signal outside, that's outside of this aluminum cage, they basically put a booster on the roof of the RV outside the aluminum cage with a couple of little antennas. And that, through the laptop, I can connect to the park's Wi-Fi and turn my laptop then basically into sort of a hotspot management device. So at that point, I can turn on the Wi-Fi Ranger, I can connect to the park's Wi-Fi, and then it will give me the ability to connect my tablet, my Roku, and my phones, if necessary, to the Wi-Fi Ranger. And the signal's great then at that point, and I'm using the park's Wi-Fi. Now, as you can imagine, more often than not, the park Wi-Fi is not that great. And even for streaming movies or watching movies, it usually does okay, like through Roku, if we're going to watch Netflix or something. I usually don't have a problem. So streaming movies is not a big deal. Streaming TV is not so much a big deal. Watching YouTube videos is not a big deal. Usually through the park Wi-Fi, especially using the park's Wi-Fi, through the Wi-Fi Ranger. But there's going to be times that you just need another way to do it. Now, what I'm going to talk about is this device right here. And this is what we use almost exclusively. And you can see it's flashing because I'm actually using internet right now. But the company's called EasyCom LLC. Now, I stumbled across them whenever I was looking and researching, and I didn't understand why these guys were so cheap. Now, right now it's time of filming for the system that I have set up. This cost roughly about $360, $370 to buy the MoFi device, this router. And it's, of course, a modem. And with that, you will get it priority shipped to your location, which is relatively quick. Already set up for whatever system you have talked to about with them. Like in my case, I have T-Mobile already. I thought I wanted Verizon, and talking with the owner directly, which that's incredible. I just chatted on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock, and all of a sudden he showed up and said, yeah, I don't think you want Verizon. Not in your case, not at this time, because I'm having customers complain about it. It's not reliable. And he says, I suggest either T-Mobile or AT&T. So this is an AT&T because I already had T-Mobile phones. And ever since then, we've had great success. We've been able to, again, stream all the stuff we wanted to on our TVs and get all the internet that we've needed to upload videos pretty much at any time. Now, you may get into a situation where you're in a really rough area, maybe a really congested tower, maybe it's hard to reach, but for the most part, this has taken care of everything. Now, I know this looks a little strange, but basically just imagine this as a high-tech cell phone with a lot of different connectivity. This plugs into a household outlet. I'm sure you could figure out a way to go 12 volt if you were going to do some sort of boondocking. Just talk with the owners, Jesse, and I think the other gentleman out there is Josh. I just started conversing with him on a slight occasion, so that's a new person for me. But Jesse's always been able to answer all my questions. And this is like a cell phone hotspot, modem, router. And you can see these two big paddles here. These are the antennas that pick up the signal. Well, as you can imagine, if your phone can pick up a signal and you can sit inside the RV and you can hotspot and you can use it to run your computer and your laptop, or maybe use it to stream movies on Roku, well, these antennas are far better than that. Not only that, but the hotspot antenna that's on your phone, there's no way it can compete with this. I mean, if cell phones, wanted this kind of range, the only way they can really get them is to have big antennas like this. Now, with that said, like I just mentioned about being in a low spot or something like that, you do have the ability, and I do have set up with our RV65 WeBoost system, which is a cell data booster, basically a cell signal data booster. That boosts the signal for all of our cell phones. This doesn't work that well with that modem, so I don't really use this in conjunction with that at all. Instead, what I'll do is I will remove this antenna right here. This is the primary antenna. And I have an omnidirectional antenna that's on top of that RV65 expandable antenna outside on our RV right now, which is like 30 foot up in the air. And that will help in the rough areas. But you can see what it looks like. This is the way I run it almost all the time. And all you really have to do is through an app, there's so many apps, I'm not even going to mention any of them. You can find out where the antenna is, for example, AT&T. And if it's in that direction, then I'll put it in that window. If it's in this direction, I'll set this thing up in this window. I just set it up on edge, and it just holds there. And the same in the back. Now, you could put Velcro or something like that on the back here and have different locations throughout the RV that it can connect to and hold it in place. But basically, that's what this is doing for you. This is getting all the internet that I need. Now, when this says on here, unlimited reliable mobile internet, never throttled or capped, the suppliers, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T, they have their own ideas about that. Now, even though it's called unlimited and all that, there are soft caps. If you get up past a certain amount, and I'm talking a lot of internet. I don't know if you guys could watch enough movies on TV during the month to even approach those internets, those levels. But if you're uploading and downloading videos as much as me, or uploading videos mainly, I could see where I could get real close to that. But those soft caps, all it does is deprioritize you, again, with an area that might be congested. And a lot of times, nobody even notices that. Because a lot of times it's such a specific situation that has to happen that it won't, you won't notice a slowdown in speed. I've never noticed a slowdown in speed except for one time, and I was confused by it. So I contacted the company direct, and again, I got hold of the owner, and he said, let me look, and immediately he got my account information, and he says, it looks like you're in a very congested area. And he says, it looks like right now it's just congested and it's going to be a little bit slow. I still watched all the YouTube that I wanted, and Netflix and Amazon Prime and HBO Max. I watched all that stuff, even with the fact that I was being slowed to some extent. I still didn't have a problem. You may, though. And again, this is something that even if you buy direct from, let's say, Verizon, and you pay your, I don't know, $90 a month for them to give you, 60 gigabytes for the month of, hotspot use or streaming use. It's still something that could happen to you once you get past their much lower cap that they have. So as far as the unlimited part, your mileage will vary. It's going to be different for you wherever you're at. And as far as what carrier to go through, in my case, again, I told him my situation, and he says, I would suggest a MoFi router. They set this up. It comes to you already set up. All you have to do is just put it together, put these antennas on, which you just screw them on, and then plug it in and put it up in the window. And you're finished. And that's the way it's been ever since I got it. So this device here at the time, I think was like $360, somewhere in that neighborhood. And at time of filming, it's about $149 a month to have that internet service. Well, that's cheap, because some of these other companies that have this same third-party services, they're expensive. Now, there's something that I wanted to mention too. Third party. Yeah, this gentleman don't work for AT&T. He don't work for T-Mobile. He doesn't work for any of the cell phone companies. But he has the ability to purchase internet and get that out to you through him. He's basically a broker. And with that, he gets deals. He gets specials. And that's what he's doing. And that's what he's allowing us to connect to. And he's doing it at a much lower rate than what I find with other internet providers as far as third-party providers. Now, you've got to watch with third-party providers. So far, with this gentleman, I haven't seen one indication that there's going to be an issue at any point in time. But there are quirks. For example, we have a viewer that had signed up with this company when I mentioned them in the past. And then he let his service lapse because he didn't need it for a month or two. Then when he went back and reactivated it, he wasn't getting the same kind of speeds without a cap that I was, or that he was prior. And again, that's because the third party doesn't have control over what those cell phone companies are doing. And in this case, they changed their programs. They changed what they had to offer. And their new offerings had a cap. It had a cap that would slow you down past a certain point if you were in a congested area and you were using that much internet. So you got to be careful with that. But in my case, I haven't had a single issue. I love the company, and that's why I'm talking to you about it. Now, this is going to be important. It's important to me, and I hope that it's important to you that it's important to me, if that makes any sense. There's going to be a link in the description. For me to keep doing these type of videos and offering you advice as far as what I'm doing and how it's working for us, please use the link down in the description to contact them and set up whatever it is that you end up purchasing. If not, if you wanted to call them direct, you need to mention my name, and it's Mike. If you guys don't know, the last name's LEBO. It's not a big secret. I don't know why anybody would care about giving out their last name, but people on internets, on YouTube's, they're worried about that. So anyways, the last name's LEBO. Mike LEBO at RVdaydream. Just tell them, hey, RVdaydream, I watched their video online, and I want to use their link to set up service with you. If not, you need to use the link in the description. And that does give me a little bit of a kickback, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I pay for this service. I purchased this service. I've been using this service heavily since November. And prior to that, I've been using it just on and off. But yeah, since November, I've been using it. I've had no issues. I love being able to, service is the most important part to me. Being able to, hey, I have a problem, and getting an answer right away. You don't get that with the big companies. You're going to be put in a queue. You're going to get the runaround, and it's always 7 to 10 working days, no matter what. It don't make a difference. It always seems like 7 to 10 working days for whatever goes on. That's not the case with them. I've had really good luck with them. Now, we've talked about this. What else can you do that will allow this internet to work for you? Well, I see a lot of people that invest a lot of money on these satellite dishes and satellite things that go out in the yard of the park, which, I don't know, I'd be afraid of putting something that expensive out at the end of my camper, at the end of my site, because it has to have a clear view of the southern sky. And people are driving through, people drive through back into spot. They could run over that at any time. But that's what they're doing. And I'm sure that's probably because they want their TV. They want to watch TV. And they have to pay a pretty good premium to watch their TV. Not only that, but they have this big device that has to go out, maybe on a tripod, maybe just out in the yard. We've run into some campgrounds. You're not allowed to put those things out. They have to be on the RV. They have to be on the roof of the RV. So just be aware of that. However, if you have this device here and you're able to get all the internet that you need with a device like that, the company EasyCom has a new streaming service called Simply the Best TV. And this gives you 5,000 channels that you can access. A lot of those are just viewable channels, just normal. But it also gives you a lot of pay-per-view. It gives you a lot of sports channels. It gives you a lot of the premium movie channels too, HBO, Showtime, whatever. You still have to subscribe to those things, but it gives you access to them. And the best part about it is, it's only running in the neighborhood of $50 a month. There's no contracts. So if you guys are just weekend warrior campers and you're going to a campground that has really good Wi-Fi connectivity, all you need to do is pay for the month, and then when you go to the campground, you can stream that either to your laptop, your tablet, Android tablet, your Android phone, or when I say laptop, you can do a MacBook. You can do Mac products on the laptop. Or if you have Amazon Fire Stick, which is really cheap. If you don't have it, you can buy it. It's only like $20, maybe 30 for the little bit better one. But you could get an Amazon Fire Stick. If you have an Android TV, you can stream right to the TV. If you have an Amazon TV, I'm sure you could stream right to that TV also. But you can watch all that. You can watch those things through the Wi-Fi that you have at the park, and you get all those channels. It's like having cable, but it's $50 a month, and it's everywhere you go. You don't have to have an address other than billing. You don't have to have an address. You just, wherever you go, you set up, as long as you have some sort of internet service, then at that point, you can stream all the TV that you want. So again, the link's going to be down in the description for that. Look into that. That's something that we're getting ready to jump into. I think I'm going to end up buying a Fire Stick because we have Roku TV. I've had Roku for years. Right now, it's hard for companies to break into Roku and have their service available through Roku. And Roku's changing stuff all the time. So it's going to take them a little while if they can even get into that. So instead of waiting, I'll just get a Fire Stick and we'll just run it off of another HDMI on the TV. So I can do it that way. But yeah, between those two things, you know, everybody wants to go out and enjoy themselves. But, you know, while we're living on the road here full time, I have two definite things. I have to have internet to stay connected to upload videos. We have to have internet to stay connected for you guys so we can social media, Instagram, Facebook. Again, if you haven't joined on with us, please do so. We need those platforms and we need connectivity to access and interact with you guys. So we have to have some redundancy. So not only the cell phone hotspot, but we also have the Wi-Fi Ranger. We have, you know, park Wi-Fi's that we can connect to occasionally. And then of course, we're talking about this device here, which is like a godsend. This one really works really, really well. So that's all I wanted to talk about. Give you an update. We've had a lot of people that's been asking us, hey, what kind of internet you got? How are you doing that? And this has worked so far. So EasyCom LLC and Simply the Best TV. Use the link in the description. It'll take you right to them and sign up. Again, there's no contract, so just use it as you need. As far as the devices, I will tell you though, if you drop, which there's no contract for this either, you purchase the device, you use it, and if there's something that requires you not to use the service for a couple months and you want to stop your service, be advised that whenever you go back into service with them, all the contracts may have changed with the big carriers, and your contract may change also. So just be aware of that. I hope this helped out. A lot of questions have been asked about it, and I just talked a long time. Hopefully I covered it all for you. And as always, guys, we hope to see you out there. Bye.